The first explosion of Everness to Everness TV. Many people doubt the authenticity of the game. After all, everyone has been scared by the fake CG. If you don't believe me, I'll show you a game. Please pay attention to the bottom left corner of the video. Mark the actual game screen recording. But the real situation must have been experienced by many people. The reason for this phenomenon is, if someone wants to build a dynamic and vibrant environment, the magnificent and beautiful world is actually not difficult. Even if you learn the Unreal Engine for a period of time by yourself, you can achieve it. But optimize this big world into a game that can make machines run. It's very difficult. Note that the machine here does not refer to a mobile phone, but it's a top-of-the-line computer with a 4090 graphics card. Let me give you another example. This year's 10-cent Night also featured an open-world game. It's called the Silicon-Based Universe. You can see the released image pause by pause. The picture quality is also outdated. But this is a true record. The bottom right corner of the video is also clearly marked. Non-engine animation. We suggest that in the future, the first hits of games should be based on this standard. Don't confuse players by picking words. This does not mean that the production team cannot achieve the level of Noah's heart. But it wants to become a game. It must compromise for optimization. Do you now understand why many people are saying no actual machine, no play? Everyone is indeed scared of being deceived. So is the high-profile Neverness to Everness actual machine? Is it really true that the official statement is a mirror? Today, Xiaofeng will take everyone together to uncover the answer. In the official live demonstration, such a store appeared, named Fujiwara Tofu Shop. At first glance, it's a tribute to the initial D. Speaking of this, I am in another area of the city. I also found a fried tofu shop. Does it mean there is also a task of transporting tofu in the game? Of course, now let everyone see that this is useful. Pay attention again to the pink big tree by the wall in the distance. Okay, now let's go back to the PV content. The existence of tofu shops can be discovered through slow playback. Then continuing to follow the camera, you can also discover a pink big tree. Now it can be basically confirmed that the actual machine and PV are in the same place. If you are still not at ease, you can continue to compare the colors and styles of surrounding buildings. All of them are completely consistent. Then the Act Euro machine ran to the intersection. The position in PV is here. Pay attention to the shop with this rabbit sign. The corresponding position is exactly in PV. Square in Act Euro machine. It also appears in PV. By using these contents, we can. The location of Ivan Antique Shop has been reversed. I even found the initial location. Afterwards, continue to return to the actual machine. We turn left and head downhill. Downhill is the road in PV. The pink tree on the street is also the same one. In the actual machine, we walk downhill to the Octopus Burn Shop. We can see that across from the store is a road leading to the seaside. There is also a pink tree at the end of the road. The corresponding tree is PV's. Then the Act Euro machine walked towards the seaside. Next, we turned into a small alley. This time we entered the blind spot of PV. But don't worry. Although we cannot see the road, we know the direction of the road. The route taken by the actual machine is parallel to the seaside. So we can continue to predict the walking route of the character. Don't look at the twists and turns in the demonstration. This alley is walking in a nearly straight line. Let's take a look at the turning points in the actual machine. We can see a house with a red shed in the distance. There are red glowing objects on the right side of the road. We can also see a downward staircase handrail. The next step in the actual machine is to turn left and forward. Afterwards, it passed through two 90-degree right angles. Actually, it went around once and returned to the original route. We can see that the red object we saw before is the door in front of us. The handrail of the staircase we see is the small path next to it. The houses in the red shed also appeared. If you still have questions, you can think from a different perspective. The route taken in the actual machine is a U-shaped bend. If the location really changes. So where did the original location go again? The area here limits the size of the space. So the route can only be the same. At this point, in the actual machine we can still see the distant uphill slope. After solving the anomaly, we continued uphill and arrived at the parking lot. At this point, the location can be confirmed in PV. The parking lot is located near the seaside. We can also see the chain lock bridge in the distance. Let's adjust the progress of PV. It can be found that the location that meets the criteria is here. That is to say, we have arrived at the boundary of the map from the inside of the map. Next, let's return to the actual machine. Driving on coastal roads. We can see that we are located on the underside of the bridge. Arriving at the first intersection. Where is this intersection? Let's continue back to PV. Start playing it backwards. Pay attention to the three buildings here. From bottom to top, they are blue, white, and red respectively. Then when we returned to the actual machine, we found that the buildings we just saw were these three. From the PV, it can be seen that there are three buildings next to each other. It's the tall building with the yellow top. This is also the one across the street from the actual machine. Then we turned and drove uphill. Pay attention to the DSD logo in the distance. We can also find it in PV. This road is located behind the apartment we purchased. There will be more evidence later. Follow the vehicle to the bottom of the bridge. At this point, we can see a multi-story building diagonally above. Is it familiar to you? You're right. It is the Eden apartment where we purchased the house. But at this moment, we are on the road behind the house. Then they continued on and arrived at the intersection again. Next, turn left. pay attention to the building with a yellow billboard on top in the distance. The corresponding building is exactly the one in PV. Then continue to turn left, arriving at the road where the chain lock bridge is located. You can already see the shape of the bridge from afar. This is very important, it will be tested later. On the left side of the road is Eden Apartments. Afterwards, we will turn right, arriving at this road in PV. Rush all the way to the racing car modification shop. From the building structure, it can be seen that this is an L-shaped building. Sure enough, in the top view of PV, it is an L-shaped building. After modifying the car, we arrived across the street. That's the position of PV. After buying an apartment, we will drive back along the original route, arriving at Eden Apartment. Please remember this stone tablet of Leon. It will be examined in the future. After we finish viewing the house, return to the car again. After getting on the car, continue moving forward. The direction is towards the building with a yellow billboard on top. Then turn left. You can see a red rabbit head billboard next to it. Quickly turn left after passing by. That's the position of PV. Next, continue moving forward. As we were about to exit the intersection, we could already spot a racing car modification shop on the right front. The location is at PV's position. In fact, the route of the vehicle is just circling around. The vehicle turned right and went straight before getting into a car accident. The location is right here. In the actual machine, you can see that the house at the corner has a yellow eave. You can also find it in PV. Afterwards, the car continued to drive along the straight road. Turn right at the first intersection. At this moment, you can observe the building ahead. Billboards with rabbit heads. Yellow billboard on top and DSD in the distance. So the route actually returned to the original path. Still spinning in circles. Immediately proceed straight to the first intersection. This is the road we just turned onto to go to the racing car modification shop. At this moment, pay attention to the green billboards in the distant building. It says Puka on it, and it will also be tested later. The car continues straight ahead, arriving at the second intersection. Turn right here to return to the apartment. It is also the road where the bridge is located. The car continues straight ahead. Go to the bottom of the DSD building. This is the road we took when we first drove here. Now it's back again. At this moment, you can clearly see the full view of the building with yellow billboards above your head. Then we turned right and returned to under the bridge. So PV's demonstration seems to have visited many places. In fact, it has been spinning all along. At this moment, the ghost fire motorcycle appeared. The pursuit battle has begun. The route is this one in PV. Crossing the bridge opening to reach the first intersection. There is a DSD billboard upstairs on the street. That's the building in PV. Then pay attention to these two houses next to you. Blue flat top and red pointed top. That's the place in PV. Afterwards, continue to pursue. At this point, it has exceeded the display area of PV. I'm sure many people have already been knocked out by me. No problem. This is a map compiled by Xiaofeng based on the route. A real hand-drawn map. The first actual machine map of Neverness to Everness on the entire network. There are some errors in the direction, but the structure of the route is fine. From the PV demonstration, it can be seen that Heitelua City is divided into two regions. In the distance is the area where the alienation building is located. The other one is the bridge ground area demonstrated by the actual machine. And the actual machine demonstration basically covers the area between the bridges. Even skipped 2 laps. Did you suddenly realize that the city is not as big as you imagined? However, it also proves from another perspective. PV displays actual machine content. All details can be encountered in actual machines. Don't worry about the fraud of fake CG anymore. It is said that this is only a version from 6 months ago. It should be more perfect now. From the current display, it appears that there are some cases of material to be reused. Especially billboards. Want to enrich a city? It's difficult to achieve. The Meroria of Power of Fantasy has gone through many iterations, till reached its current peak. The actual machine of Neverness to Everness has generally shown the idea and design of the game. There's no problem with the direction. Next, we need to polish it well. Did Xiaofeng forget something? What were the things we agreed to take the exam for? Next, we will begin the analysis of super hard kernels. First of all, I apologize to everyone. There was an error in the PV interpretation of the last video. When the third-party camp encounters an accident, Xiaofeng said it encountered a ghost fire motorcycle. But through slow play, we can find that the accident is more like encountering a skateboard anomaly. That means PV displays a complete story. Antique Shop is catching skateboard anomaly. Afterwards, they chased and blocked all the way. Coincidentally, they met the trio who were delivering things. Everything that happened in PV happened on the same night. And after clarifying the route, Xiaofeng already knows the location of the incident in PV. Let's go back to when the trio appeared. You can see the DSD billboard on the left. Move forward a bit further. On the right is the Puka billboard. Afterwards, rabbit head billboards also appeared. So the route is like this. Then look at this angle again. On the left is Puka, and in front is the pedestrian overpass. In the distance is the chain lock bridge. So the route is like this. Afterwards, the vehicle drifts. You can also see the chain lock bridge in the background. But none of this is important. The important thing is that the anomaly that Mint needs to deal with is in the area where the alienation building is located. So the trio actually got lost. However, it also indirectly explains. PV was indeed captured in Act Euro machine scenes. There is no posing. Although the previous road went wrong. But when winged women ride motorcycles alone to deliver goods, the route is actually correct. You can see after passing through the tunnel. The direction she is heading towards is the area where the alienation building is located. Next is the place of the anomaly accident. From the scene of the lowly trio looking back, it can be seen that the accident also occurred in the area where the alienation building is located. Including the appearance of Mint, it is also here. But when the white-haired man took away the little girl, the location suddenly shifted to Eden apartment. There's also a stone tablet of Leon next to it. It was here that the anomaly was finally solved. This shows that the escapability of the anomaly is very strong. It was only after escaping all the way here that it was resolved. This is also the fraudulent transition used by Tower of Fantasy. From water to canal, everything becomes natural. In fact, it has already been cut and pieced together. I hope the authorities will continue to maintain this excellent tradition. Don't be lazy just because the game hasn't been launched yet. To be honest, although the Neverness to Everness has not been tested yet, but I have already covered all the content that was released, even having the basic framework of the city in mind. I can even provide suggestions for games that haven't been launched yet. The current road is somewhat unreasonable. Taking the road in actual machine to Eden apartment as an example. Why did the situation of taking a detour occur? Because this is the only route. That means we can only reach our destination by taking a detour. The production team's idea of designing a double-layer circuit is a good one. But we also need to consider how to connect the upper and lower layers. We suggest the production team to play more with the urban skyline. When is the road no longer congested? It means that the city's design is qualified. I hope in the first test, we can see the more eye-catching performance of Neverness to Everness. Let's take a look at the next issue. Act Ural Machine details and inspiration sources in Neverness to Everness. Alright, that's all for this issue. Follow Xiaofeng to experience a different kind of Neverness to Everness.